Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend our webinar today with Oasis and ActOn to cover account-based marketing. My name is Rosenberg, and I'm Oasis Solutions Senior Vice President of Business Development. We're your premier provider for software and business process consulting, and we're excited to have with us this morning a true expert in the realm of account-based marketing, Josefsberg, who is ActOn's VP of Product Management and Marketing. Before we take a deep dive into account-based marketing, I would like to provide you with a little more information about Oasis and why we chose to partner with ActOn to help us accomplish our marketing initiatives. So we understand that no two businesses are the same in the marketplace today, and so that requires specific solutions to help your business achieve its goals. This is our 25th, and so we bring all that experience to the table when we work with our clients. We're headquartered here in Louisville, Kentucky, and we work regionally with intention because we really feel that there's a strong value in the marketplace today to have that personal connection with our clients, especially when we go through training and implementation projects. So we work around up to Indianapolis and Cincinnati in the Ohio area, down to Nashville and Tennessee, and kind of anywhere in between. We do have clients though in over 15 states, and some of those are one-offs, and we like those people because they're usually fans of Oasis. So they take us with them when they get a new job at a new company. We have clients in Mississippi, California, etc. So we can work with anybody, anywhere, but we do prefer, again, to have that face-to-face presence with our clients when possible. We really focus on the people and process behind the software. We feel that in the marketplace today, it's often more important who you buy from than what you buy. And so we take that deep dive in understanding the processes and the people at your organizations and align those with our processes and our people to get to that end result. Our qualified team of consultants and project managers make up people that have been on the other side of the implementation table as well. So our CPAs, controllers, software developers have all been through implementations at their organizations, so they can relate. They understand that our customers can't just drop their 40-hour or 50-hour work week to take on a new project. And so they manage that change and the speed and the size of change that any organization can take on at any given time and really plan for a successful project implementation. And they have over 150 years of experience doing just that. And here's some of the folks on my team today, and hopefully if you find what you're looking for with ActOn and it's a good solution for your business or any of the other solutions that we provide, we can work with you too. So to make sure that it's a good fit though, I can tell you a little bit more about what type of businesses we serve. So what type of business are you? We specialize in working with fast growth mid-market businesses just like us. Clients either need help kind of finishing their evaluation, so they've already got a product or products in mind and they've narrowed it down and they'll come to us because we represent one of those best-in-breed software solutions. Or maybe they're earlier on in their consideration phase and they just know that they need something for marketing automation, they don't know quite what, and so come to us with looking for an informed opinion on how to drive that decision. We specialize with wholesale distributors and manufacturers, but we work with service clients, nonprofit clients, for-profit clients across that mid-market region. Sometimes we get engaged on just pure service engagements as well. So our consultants do a fantastic job helping our customers really visualize their workflows and their process maps, helping to convert data, a big portion of most of our projects, so taking data out of system A and converting them to new system B, or sometimes a myriad or multiple systems into that new system of record. We offer local support for all of the software that we represent and carry, and we also help through updates and selection, replacements, integration, and middleware development from a technical standpoint. So whether your business needs a new ERP, a new CRM, sales and marketing automation, looking for business intelligence or forecasting and budgeting software, or human resource and human capital management, we have put together a list of well-vetted, best-in-breed products to help you accomplish your needs. Most of the time, the customers that we work with have grown from departmental systems to manage different core business operations like sales and marketing, or they're using off-system spreadsheets to kind of get the data and process flows into their core business management reporting. So when they come to the table, they're often experiencing different versions of the truth. So the sales manager and the marketing manager might have a different equation of how many leads they had and what's a qualified lead, etc. And so they're looking for that combination of data flow and process, and that's where we really help to get engaged. A lot of times in the sales and marketing automation realm, our customers are still using sticky notes or spreadsheets for reminders or incentive calculations. They're still using Outlook as their core Rolodex. They're having to do multiple duplicate data entry points, which takes a lot of time and effort away from actually focusing on sales and marketing. They're having issues with forecasting. They've got multiple systems that aren't connected, or they have no connectivity into their financial system. Also, maybe their email or social and content marketing are done manually, or they don't have a way to do that at all. I'm looking for measurements there. And so when we look at helping our customers, we continuously vet out the best products in the marketplace today. And just like you, we have choices. So on which software we want to use to help achieve our goals and help our customers achieve their goals. And so we've partnered with best-in-breed solutions like NetSuite, Sage CRM, Sugar CRM, ActOn, and Salesforce. And when it came to selecting a best-in-breed marketing automation solution, ActOn was really the clear and away choice for Oasis to supplement our product portfolio of CRM applications. It has very easy turnkey integration, and most of our customers have a B2B channel. And when they're charged with marketing to an organization, and not just one contact within the organization, they're looking for solutions that help them simplify that process and provide their sales team with high-quality leads. And today we're thrilled to be joined by Gal, who will discuss the concept of account-based marketing in more detail. So without further ado, I'm pleased to turn it over to Gal Josefsberg.
Hello. Let me switch to presenting my screen. All right. Hey, can you just quickly verify that you can hear me, you can see the screen and everything?
Got you loud and clear. You can
Awesome.
see the screen.
Okay. Always want to make sure. Okay, so let's talk about B2B marketing first before we even dive into account-based marketing. One of the things that we, ActOn, have found is that over the past, I think, 5 or 6 B2B marketers are finding out that B2B and B2C are not really converging, right? I mean, and then this, we think about it, with, I think it was right around 2005, 2006, there was this big trend that said B2B and B2C marketing, it's really the same thing, right? Social was coming out and everybody said, well, if you want to be a marketer, you have to have a Facebook account and a Twitter account, a LinkedIn account. Really, it's all starting to sound the same. Marketing to companies, marketing to people, everything's the same. And what we've noticed over the last 4 or 5 years is that, yeah, in some ways there was a little bit of a conversion, especially when you're looking at marketing automation. So if you are doing marketing for a considered purchase, things that people think about buying instead of just going to the checkout and buying, well, then you're right. There are many parallels to marketing, whether somebody is buying a car or somebody is buying software for their company. So yeah, many things are similar, but what we've also found is that there have been many things that are different, right? So you are talking to a company, you are selling a company, you may get referrals, you may do customer advocacy. There are many of these little intricate and subtle differences, with account-based marketing being one of them. So that's number one, is that let's get over this myth that B2B and B2C marketing are the exact same thing. They're definitely not. And what we're going to be talking about today is ABM, or account-based marketing. You'll hear me use the acronym ABM all the time, just because it's easier to say than account-based marketing over and over, which is today at least for the last 2 or 3 years, the hot thing for B2B marketing. Right? And it really shows off one of these differences between B2B and B2C. So let's talk about ABM for a second. First of all, it is really hot. If you look at, for search history for ABM, you'll see that it's just tremendously popular over the last 2-3 years. Now that's sort of anecdotal evidence that people are interested in. Let's talk about the real evidence that it's a good thing to learn about and to try. And this is based off both our survey at ActOn, but also through talking to analysts like Forrester and Gartner and Serious Decisions. The facts back up the hype, right? 97% of marketers that try ABM report higher ROI, contract value is higher, close rates are higher. So every piece of evidence points to ABM is real. It gets you real results and significant results in some cases. And if that's the case, where are we in the adoption cycle of ABM? Which is one of the things that started surprising us when we dug into ABM is that even though it seems to be very effective, you'll note here that only 31% are doing some kind of account-based marketing, right? And this is 31% of B2B marketers, right? It's not 31% of all marketers. It's 31% of B2B marketers are doing ABM, some kind of account-based marketing strategy. 43%, so the 31% plus an additional 12% are going to be investing money in it in this upcoming fiscal year. So okay, so we're up to 43%, but that's still a little bit odd when you think about it, right? A discipline of marketing that allows you to get higher ROI, higher close rates, higher contract rates, and yet only 43% of potential users are investing in it in 2016. Why is that? What we discovered is that there's 2 hurdles to the adoption of ABM. The first is that a lot of people still just have no idea what it is, right? So 3% believe it's all hype, 25% believe it's a real solution, but almost 42% say they have no idea, right? So, and I'm going to back that up by saying it took us some digging to find those facts, right? I mean, Forrester, I think this year is the first year where they're doing the account-based marketing landscape. Gartner hasn't looked at it yet. There isn't a lot of industry data that shows this. So the first hurdle to adoption of ABM is the fact that most people still don't know if it's hype or reality. So let me clear up this issue right away and say, yes, absolutely, it works. Again, 40% higher contract rates, 300%, well, 300% for some customers, but I mean, we saw anywhere between 100% to 300% higher close rates, higher ROI than almost any other channel. It absolutely does work. There is no hype about it. It absolutely does work if implemented correctly. So if anybody out there still doubts that account-based marketing works, it definitely does. Now, it may not work in your specific use case. There are some small specific use cases where it doesn't work, and I'll discuss those a bit more later. But if you are a B2B marketer, you should at least be thinking about ABM and considering whether or not it's right for you. So that's hurdle number 1. Hurdle number 2 was a little bit more interesting. So this is an interesting stat, right? 31% say that their company is doing some kind of account-based marketing, but only 20% have a clear understanding of what it is. So think about that one for a second. 11%, there's 11% of marketers out there who are doing account-based marketing but aren't quite sure what it is. And this points to the second hurdle behind account-based marketing. That is, most marketers don't know what ABM truly is, right? They know in general, they know, oh, account-based marketing, okay, I should be marketing to accounts. But when you ask them, okay, well, what does that mean? How do you do that? What tools do you need? What tactics do you implement? They go blank. They don't know. And this is the second hurdle behind account-based marketing. I mean, if I were to tell you today, you need to implement a social marketing strategy, great. Everybody knows what to do. You may, start arguing about what's the best time to post to LinkedIn, or should you use LinkedIn groups or not, but you know what to do. If I were to say you need to implement a search marketing strategy, okay, we can start, arguing about SEO versus SEM. We can start arguing about, titles versus body text and what's better for SEO, but in general, we know the details. For ABM, that is completely untrue. Most people don't know the details behind ABM. Most marketers don't know what it means. They know it at a high level, but they don't understand how to actually implement it. So that's the second hurdle behind why more people aren't using ABM. Simply put, they don't know how. It's again, to use the search marketing parallel, it's like telling you, hey, search is driving a tremendous amount of traffic your way, and if you were better at it, people who optimize their search marketing get much better results. And you were to tell me, yeah, that's great, but I don't even know what these acronyms like SEO and SEM mean. I don't know anything about how to do this, right? That's the stage we're at with ABM. Everybody knows it's important. Well, 43% of people know it's important, but the majority of people just don't know how to implement it. They don't even know what it means in many cases. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to talk a little bit more about what ABM is, how to implement it, what it does, and then maybe even look at through the tool to see how it works in practice. So let's start with two most common forms of ABM. The first is what we call proactive targeting. You may have heard of this also referred to as spear phishing. Proactive targeting is, I'm going to go out and get a list of companies that I'm going to target. Now, that list of companies depends on some criteria I have, right? I have a go-to-market strategy. So I'm targeting companies in North America with between 25 to 500 employees in the electronics vertical that are making more than $10 million of revenue, annual revenue. So that's my criteria, right? That's my go-to-market. Now I'm going to go find 100 companies like that, and that's my list. Now I'm going to start marketing to those accounts, and we'll talk about marketing to those accounts and what that means in a second. But the first part of proactive targeting is just coming up with that list. What are my criteria, and then who are the companies that are on that list? The second form of ABM is what we call reactive targeting. And reactive targeting is all about, hey, I've already got people coming to me. They're opening my emails. They're coming to my events. They are on my website checking out various media. I know that they are associated to companies. Let me, out of the 500 companies represented in my database, let me narrow it down to just 50 to 100 companies that meet my criteria. And again, I have to come up with my list of criteria. I have to say, these are the companies I'm interested in. So out of the companies that are already showing interest in me, what are the companies that I should target? So let's talk about both this proactive and reactive. Let's note a couple of things in common, right? One is, either way, you're going to end up with a list of companies to target. And the reason you want to do that is because, listen, your resources are limited. Everybody's resources are limited. And narrowing down our focus to just these companies allows us to say, yes, we will devote all energy to converting these accounts right here. We have a higher success rate with those accounts. So again, the goal of both proactive and reactive targeting is to come up with that list of companies. Come up with the list of names of accounts that I should go target, that I should invest more effort into. The second thing that they have in common is that they both rely on your go-to-market strategy. That is, they both rely on you defining what is a good target. And I want to emphasize this because one of the common mistakes I see people make is they don't spend enough time thinking about their go-to-market strategy. And so I see too many people who say, oh yeah, we've got a list of companies, it's the Fortune 100. Really? Okay, Fortune 100. So what, you're going to treat banks the same as big pharma companies, the same as Walmart, the same, really? All these companies are the same? Oh, well, no, we actually do better with financial institutions. Okay, well then how about the top 100 financial institutions? Well, you know, we're only selling in North America. Okay, you know, so not to go through a whole dialogue here, but my point is that you really want to define what is a good target account for you and be as specific as you can. Don't be afraid of getting too specific. If you get to the point where, you know, my target are, you know, small dentist clinics in Cleveland, Ohio, that have at least 2 dentists, well, maybe you've gotten a little bit too specific there. I think your target market's a little bit too small, but don't be afraid in general to get specific. The more common mistake is people not being specific enough rather than too specific. So remember, you want to choose where to focus your energy, and for that, you need to be clear on what is the best target for you. The thing that they have different between proactive and reactive marketing is when to use them, right? So proactive targeting, you really want to use more when you're starting out. You don't really know, you don't really have a lot of brand recognition. There aren't a lot of companies coming to you. You don't have a lot of traffic coming your way. This is all about being proactive, right? You're going to go out and get these companies and get more brand awareness. If you're already established, if you already have a lot of traffic coming your way, reactive targeting is better. And in fact, at that point, you may want to do a mix of reactive and proactive, simply by going, okay, well, you know, there's 500 companies coming to my website. Out of them, these 50, you know, really match my criteria. Plus, I'm going to find 25 more companies that aren't coming to my website right now, but are similar to these 50, right? So I'm doing a mix of proactive and reactive. And again, neither one of these options is right or wrong. They're both right, depending on your situation. They're both tools to be used. But again, the goal is I come up with a list of companies that I'm going to market to. Now, the interesting part is that that's where most people think account-based marketing ends. And to us at ActOn, this is really where account-based marketing begins. Because if you think about it, when you're doing contact-based marketing today, that is marketing to people, getting a name is the first part of marketing. Marketing itself comes after the point where you have a name, right? You typically don't, as soon as you have a name, you typically don't just turn it over to sales. You may, maybe this person requested, you know, a demo, and so you turn it over to sales right away. But in most cases, getting a name means, okay, well, now I'm going to put them in a nurture program, I'm going to send them media. That's what marketing is all about, especially marketing automation. So for us at ActOn, reactive and proactive targeting are sort of the same as getting a name of a person. You're getting a name of a company. What you do with that name, if you have enough information on this account, yeah, okay, you may turn that over to the salesperson if they seem like they're interested in buying. But for the most part, the list of names of companies, that's where marketing starts. So let's talk a little bit more about how to do that, because I think a lot of people just don't know how to market to companies, because it sounds interesting, oh, I'm going to market to companies, but I mean, what does that mean? I can't send an email to Acme company, right? I'm still sending an email to people. So how do I market to a company? And that's what we're going to talk about next. So there's really 4 use cases that you need to consider. And I'm going to backtrack here for a second and say that account-based marketing is really similar. It's an overlay on top of contact-based marketing, right? Don't think of it as a replacement. Instead of marketing to people, I am marketing to companies. That is the wrong way of thinking about it. The right way of thinking about it is I am still marketing to people, but I'm going to do it in the context of a company. At the end of the day, my emails, my texts, my physical mail, my retargeting, all of that is still going to go out to people, but I'm going to do it in the context of a company, the account that they belong to. That's what account-based marketing is all about. It doesn't replace account-based marketing. It is an overlay on top of it. So let's think about the 4 use cases, right? The first use case is all about the account profile. Think about it today. Most marketing automation allows you to see the contact profile. What media have they downloaded? What websites have they seen? What is their score? What's their profile? You use that because you're going to need it for segmentation, for scoring. You're also going to need to show that to a salesperson. You know, once you transfer the lead over, you want the salesperson to see the contact profile. Well, the same is true of accounts. In account-based marketing, you are going to show not just the contact profile, but also the account profile that this contact belongs to. And the two are very similar. You have an account score. You have an account profile attributes like their location, their revenue, their industry. You have an account timeline, which is basically an aggregate of the timeline, of the behavioral timeline of all the contacts belonging to this account. So the account profile is very similar to the contact profile. The only difference between them is that the level that they're at. Right? One is a contact, one is an aggregate of contacts, a collection of contacts with its own attribute data. And by the way, just like you were going to give the contact profile to a salesperson, you will also want to make the account profile available to salespeople. Because if I'm handing a lead over to a salesperson, I want to hand them over the full information. I want to be able to give them a lead and say, hey, here's the account. It's Acme Company. Acme Company has these 4 people in it. Here's the timeline of everybody from Acme Company who's accessed marketing assets. Here's the score for Acme Company so that you, the salesperson, can decide what's a hot prospect or not, right? You never want sales to waste their time chasing cold leads. So when I move a deal over to sales, I want to tell them, hey, this account has an account score of 50. And that is better than somebody else who has an account score of 30. So go chase this account first. So again, an account profile, very similar to a contact profile, used in the exact same way. The second piece here is easily create simple marketing campaigns, right? Think about a simple contact-based campaign. I want to invite, Dreamforce, I believe, is happening this week. SugarCon happens. I forget when SugarCon is. My bad. But listen, I'm having some kind of event at these big trade shows, and I want to invite my local customers or prospects to it. Okay, well, I'm going to create a list. Everybody's in the area, everybody who might be interested, and I'm going to send them an email saying, hey, please come to my event. Right? That's a very simple marketing campaign, right? You may have an end of quarter. For most of us, we just went through end of quarter. And marketing can do closing events, right? So I've got some kind of closing events. I want to bring all prospects in an area to dinner with the CEO, and I'm going to send them out an email blast inviting them. That is a simple marketing campaign. Again, with account-based marketing, take that simple marketing campaign and simply do it in the context of the account. So I'll give you an example. We had a closing event in Duluth, Minnesota last quarter. A surprising amount of marketing prospects in Duluth, Minnesota. And instead of just saying, who are the contacts we know, what we did instead was we said, hey, who are the accounts we should be inviting to this? So accounts of a certain size with an opportunity at a certain stage. Let me find the contacts from those accounts, right? And at the end of the day, I'm still going to email the invite to contact. But the context was the account itself. I'm not just emailing this invite to all contacts. I'm emailing it to contacts from accounts of a certain size that are likely to close before the end of this quarter. Because I want to invest my marketing dollars where they count the most. So again, very clear examples, both in use case number 1 and use case number 2, of the fact that account-based marketing does not replace contact-based marketing. It is simply another level of contact-based marketing. It is a context, an overlay for what we were doing before. And That, by the way, that should make you feel better, because this is not a whole new discipline to learn, right? It's not a revolutionary, oh my God, it's going to take me 2 years of intense training to get this. It's actually pretty simple once you get the hang of it and once you get the right tool to help you do this. Now, the third and fourth use cases are where we start getting a little bit more interesting, right? So just like you score users and contacts, you want to score accounts based on all of these interactions. Again, it may be that somebody requested a demo and that's an account that you transfer immediately to a salesperson, but most accounts need to be nurtured, just like a contact. And as they are nurtured, their score will change to the point where now, they are a score of 10, keep nurturing. When they get to a 40, move them to a salesperson. But now I'm talking about an account score instead of a contact score, right? And the reason I do that is because, I'll give you an example. What if you have 2 accounts coming to your website? The first account has only 1 user, 1 contact that is associated with this account, and that user is very, very engaged. Man, they're opening all your emails. They're reading a lot of web pages on your website. They've even attended one of your events. Wow, that looks great. High contact score. The other account has 20 people that are associated with it, but none of them seems really engaged, right? There's one that opened a couple of emails. There's one that checked out the pricing page on your website. There's one that maybe attended an event. In and of themselves, none of these is really has a high enough contact score to qualify as a lead to move over to sales. But when I add them all together and I look at this and I go, wow, there's 20 people here. Maybe that is a qualified account. Now, and again, I'm not saying it is. It's going to be up to you to decide what account score makes for a qualified lead. But that's the magic that you can start doing when you're looking at account-based marketing. At that point, you're no longer just relying on the contact score to say this is a qualified lead or not. Now all of a sudden you're looking at the entire account score and saying, wow, okay, listen, 20 semi-engaged people, well, that still indicates this account is interesting. I should send that over to sales. Again, up to you. But just like you were working with a contact score before, now you can work with an account score. And then finally, for the nurture track, this is use case number 4, you can now deliver a nurture track for the account. So rather than saying a nurture track for people, again, obviously it's still going to be people who are going through your nurture track or the automated program, but it's in the context of the account. So I want to nurture, this is my top of funnel nurture program for people from accounts that match these criteria. Again, very similar to what you were doing before with contact-based marketing, but aimed at the account level. Okay, so let's actually switch for a second to one more. Let's actually switch for one moment, and we will go over here to the software itself. And I'll just show you this really quickly. And again, we tried to make this as similar as possible to contact-based marketing because the two are similar and related, right? This is my accounts page. So you can see here that I've got all accounts here, and then I've also already created some account segments, vertical accounts, mid-market, financial vertical. And the way I do this is I simply go here, and I create a new group, and I've got a segmentation UI, that does everything that I thought it should be. So the billing, and again, by the way, the information that you've got there, the fields are going to depend on what you set for accounts, right? So every customer is different in terms of the data they save for accounts. It's going to be up to you to decide what data you want at the account level. Let's say the billing state equals California. We'll branch it. All right, so you can do branches, you can do Boolean logic. This is the segmentation UI. It's relatively self-explanatory. I'm just going to hit cancel out of here. But through this segmentation UI, I create any of these segments. Now, you can already notice that, again, for these segments, I can say email this group, right? So we were talking about those simple email blasts. So if I wanted to, I could create here, West Coast, more than 250 employees, and I can send them all an email right now, invite them to my West Coast Dreamforce event, whatever the case may be. But what I can also do is I can drill down and start looking at, take this Dex Media, for example, right? So first of all, I've got Dex's score of 190. So we were talking about account-based scoring right there. So Dex has an average score of 190. Is that good? Is that bad? It depends on my own scoring rules. This is all the information about Dex. Here is the info itself, the attributes of the account. So you can see here the revenue. And again, all of these fields that you're seeing here are going to depend on what you keep for your particular customers. This may be different for you. The contacts that are associated with Dex and their specific contact score, the timeline. So you can see here that Christine, which she actually was looking at this pretty recently. Different people. Here's Gil. Here's Christine again. So again, as a salesperson, I can access this and look at the account profile. So very briefly, the first three use cases that we've talked about are all represented here, right? One is the account profile. So I've got access to that, and I can make it available to salespeople. Number two is the simple email blast, right? So here I can email all people from this account, or as you saw before, I could email all contacts from a particular account segment or collection of accounts. And finally, the account score. So I can do things based on the account score. Now, the last use case, which is the complex campaigns, that we do in segmentation. And I want to show you something here. So let's assume that we're ActOn. And again, we had a closing event at the end of the quarter where we invited people from the West Coast to join us and see the various pieces about the roadmap. So how do we do that? So and then I'm not going to go through the entire segment here, but let's. So it was titled, CMO or VP, and on the profile we wanted primary address state contains California, Oregon, or Washington. Great, but I mean, this is still just contact-based marketing, right? What we want to do now is start adding behavior. So in the last 30 days, they opened at least one message, so they seem to be engaged. And now let's add the account overlay. So I want accounts annual revenue is greater than 10 million because, hey, if I'm going to invite them to a big event and spend money on this, then I want to be sure that the account is big enough to justify this. And I want the account, let's find the opportunity. I want to find the opportunity, expected close date perhaps. I forget how we actually set it up, but the opportunity probability to be greater than 90. So notice what I did here, right? I'm still marketing to contacts. I can now put this in a nurture program, or I can put it in an email blast, right? So, but I've gotten really sophisticated with my targeting. Rather than just targeting engaged CMOs, I can now say, I want to target engaged CMOs from accounts of a certain size, of a certain probability of closing. And that's that account-based marketing overlay at play again. That's where I really start saying, yeah, I'm still doing contact-based marketing. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm still sending an email to individuals, but I'm doing it in the context of an account. All right, so with that, let me go back here and let me open it up to questions. I think we went through all 4 use cases in the demo. That's right. Yeah. So I think we've covered everything that we wanted to cover in this webinar, and then I'd love to be able to answer any of your questions.
Great, Gall. We've got a question here. So what's the number one thing I can do as a marketer to maximize results if I were to move more towards an ABM strategy?
By far, that would be refine your go-to-market strategy. Get those criteria of what makes a good account for you. Like I cannot emphasize this enough. Most people just skip right through that and think they can go straight through the implementation of ABM. And if you don't have those go-to-market criteria correct, then you will be marketing to the wrong companies. And it's very tempting to just say, oh, Fortune 100, oh, all big financial institutions. It's like, no, get specific. Figure out what makes a good, achievable target for you, and then maybe set it a little bit higher. But be specific about the target you want. I cannot emphasize this enough, because if you go into an account-based marketing strategy without having a good definition of what makes a good account for you, then you may as well not be doing this.
Okay, the other question here is on the number one or first step you should take for ABM. So if we take into consideration that you need to narrow your focus, how would you go about suggesting, let's say, a wholesale distribution client look at narrowing down their focus based on previous sales, based on where they think the market's going? Do you ever have questions like that come up?
So it depends on the stage of where you are as a company, right? Let's assume that you are an established company, and I'll go through the ActOn example, right? We eat our own dog food, so we practice account-based marketing. And what we did when we first went to implement account-based marketing is we looked where we were having the most success selling already, right? Because if you have an established track record, then it's easy to look back at it and do that analysis. But again, you have to be ruthless about it, right? So you can't just say, well, but we had some good success here, and then ignore the fact that, oh, 50% of those companies churned within 90 days, right? You have to be ruthless about it and say, no, really, where did we have success? Where was the lifetime value of this account very high? And if you think you can improve some areas, fine, but don't assume the improvements are 100% accurate, right? Be ruthless. So look back at your history and say, this is where we did. Now, once you have that, where did we do well, then you need to think to yourself, okay, do we intend to change that? Are we going up market? Are we going into a specific vertical, right? So I'll give you an example, right? We at ActOn found that we were doing really, really well at companies of a size between 25 employees and 1,000 employees, so not large enterprise, but also not tiny SMB. We found out that having a CRM is a good indicator of success with ActOn. So that there was a number of these indicators that said, okay, in the past we've done well with these, but then we narrowed it down even more and we said, okay, well, listen, we can't target all CRMs, so let's figure out, sugar, okay, we'll focus on sugar customers and Salesforce customers and Dynamics customers. For the size, we went only after a certain vertical, right? So yes, look back at your previous success and see where you've done well, and then decide where you're going to go to narrow it down even further. It is better to narrow it down more than narrow it down less. Again, to a certain point. But I find that most people make the mistake of not narrowing things down enough rather than narrowing things down too much.
Yeah, I can tell you sometimes it's hard for us to pick and choose our favorite children, right? So I can totally understand.
Yeah, that's it. And it feels exactly like that, because you're always going to have the salesperson who comes back and says, well, what about this one company here? Are you trying to tell me that you're just going to ask me to abandon it? And the answer is always like, no, listen, sales, if you want to devote time going chasing those accounts, great, go for it. But we as marketers have limited resources, and these are the companies that we're going to target. And it's hard, but you got to do it.
Yes, it's convincing sales that quality over quantity is a better way to approach the marketplace. So, well, Gall, those were
absolutely
that we had today, and we're running up on the 45-minute mark here. So thank you again for joining us on the webinar. Really appreciate it. Look forward to working with you in ActOn, and would encourage anyone that's interested in a recording of this webinar or to find out more about ActOn's product and how Oasis can help them achieve their marketing goals and their sales goals, to reach out and get in touch.
All right, well, thank you for having me here. I appreciate it.
All right, take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your week, and thanks for attending.